Ooh, welcome everyone to the Daily Juice Podcast on the Betting Pros Network. I'm your host, Sean, stacking the money green. And as always, Daily Juice is being brought to you by BetMGM. Head over to BetMGM.com. Use our promo code JUICE150. You got yourself a $1,000 risk-free bet. Terms and conditions apply. Hey, back on the winning ways, almost. Was on a little bit of a cold streak there, but then Houston Texans got us that covered the -2. Man, that was a bit of a sweat in that game. We got more preseason action coming up, 1-1. So again, nothing to be that excited about. Down, I don't know, minus 0.1 units. Again, are we really keeping track of point units? Come on, let's go big. Or go home, or just go home and watch preseason football. Got some preseason football picks and a UFC prop there for you, plus 350. So stay tuned to the end of the podcast. I mean, where are you gonna go? It's a 10 to 15 minute podcast, depending on how amped up I am, depending on how much I want to tout or gripe about the losses. All right, so 1-1. Saints, way too much Ian Book. I was thinking we were gonna get some Dalton. I did nail. I thought they were gonna force Olave, and they did. They got Olave one touchdown, their only touchdown in the game. Other than that, it really didn't look that pretty. I mean, Jordan Love didn't look great either. They ended up winning 20-10, got the outright win. I mean, really, second half was completely nothing except for Danny Etling broke off a massive run for the Packers. So they got the win, they got the cover. And then, yeah, like I said, Texans, they were down. And then they needed a touchdown drive from Mr. Jeff Driscoll, and he got it done. I mean, there was a pretty crazy play where it was like 3rd and 15, drops back. He fumbles the ball out of his hand. He catches it, runs for the first down, and then nice throw for the go-ahead touchdown, essentially the game winner there. So shout out to you, Driscoll. And maybe we got fortunate on that him recovering his own fumble, but certainly unfortunate when earlier on in the game, the Texans punt returner at his own 8, like fumbled it right to the Rams defender, bounced up right in his hands, ran in for the touchdown. And the other reason I really like the Houston Texans was Dameon Pierce. I've been on Dameon Pierce. If you've been listening to my Best Ball Draft podcast over on Sports Gambling Podcast, I've been grabbing shares of him left and right. And I thought he was going to play and have a big game. Turns out the Texans last minute were like, no, he is so much our guy. He is so much our number one running back right now. We're not even going to put him out there. They're just trying to figure out who is going to back up Dameon Pierce. So not great for that individual preseason game, but feeling pretty good about Dameon Pierce moving forward. Maybe a little sprinkle in Rookie of the Year. We'll get to that later, possibly on this episode, possibly not. I'm keeping my eye on. And I don't hold me to this as an official play, but Malik Willis 50-1, Sam Howell 75-1. I'm keeping my eye on those because a lot of times it does end up being quarterbacks. It feels like a bit of a crapshoot right now for me. So we'll come back to those on another episode. But I think both have a chance to maybe get in there. Again, they're long shots, but at 50 and 75-1, I think there's some value. You're talking EV. You know what the ultimate EV play is? Getting a free autograph Vince Papale jersey. That's right. Can't lose any money on this promotion here because all you got to do is leave a review of the Daily Juice podcast and then take your review. Do it on Apple Podcasts or CastBox and then head over to bettingpros.com/Papale, Papale, and submit the form there and you get a chance to win an autographed jersey from pristine auction of the great Vince Papale, the man who came out of nowhere, got onto the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, someone in the Discord, they were like, hey, what about some non-Eagles jerseys? And I get that. I'm obviously partial, so it doesn't bother me. I'm not winning the jerseys. I get it. But let's be honest. Brian Dawkins and Vince Papale, if you don't love those guys, you don't love football. I mean, even as an Eagles fan, I can admire and respect a Lawrence Taylor autographed jersey if something like that came up over on Pristine Auction. I can respect that as an Eagles fan. Now, Eli Manning, hopefully we don't run any Eli Manning promos. But Lawrence Taylor, I mean, we're talking about dog. You got to give it up for LT there, 100%. And appreciate all the great reviews, positive feedback from people reaching out, enjoying the show. Here's one to highlight. Seashill7 says his review, best in the game. I was pretty skeptical the first couple episodes with Matt leaving. I'll say, though, Sean is growing on me. He's a great handicapper and brings good vibes. By far the best betting podcast out there. 5 stars. All right. Well, call me a fungus because I'm growing on people. Let's go, baby. All right. And, some winning picks never hurts. And I got some good takes. Saturday and Sunday are my strongest takes for the NFL preseason. First up, Lions at Colts. I'm taking the Colts +3, -115 over on DraftKings. Lions backup quarterback situation is really shaky. I mean, if you've been watching Hard Knocks, David Blau, a.k.a. David Blows, he just does not look good. He fumbled the game away for the Lions before. I mean, I'm not even a fan of Jared Goff, but the depth behind him with the second and third strings, Doyle, I'm blanking on his name, but they're really thin on the backup quarterback situation, which you would imagine you see a decent amount of. I mean, the Lions are actively trying to trade for Mason Rudolph, so that tells you everything you need to know about their preseason situation. Now, Colts on the other side, backup quarterback Nick Foles. I mean, do I need to remind you? Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles as a home dog. I mean, I remember making a lot of money when Nick Foles was a home dog in a dome. Actually, and that's a fun little nugget. I don't know. Obviously, Nick Foles not the same quarterback he was on this magical run, but a little nugget on the Eagles' 2017 Super Bowl run. Nick Foles is a warm weather quarterback. He grew up in Arizona. Or Texas, played in Arizona in college, and he plays much better in domes. The Super Bowl is in the dome. Even the NFC Championship game in Philadelphia, it was unseasonably warm against the Minnesota Vikings, RIP Case Keenum. But earlier in the playoffs and in some of those December games, he looked really rough. This guy's a warm weather quarterback. I like the situation for him as a home dog. I think he's going to get a decent run. And actually, Sam Ehlinger look pretty good, all things considered. Again, this is preseason good. It's not regular season good. But Nick Foles, Sam Ehlinger, I like the quarterback. I think they're noticeably better than what the Lions are trotting out as far as depth. And I can't imagine we're going to see Jonathan Taylor, if at all, for the Colts. However, I might see a little bit of Naheem Hines and then Phillip Lindsay. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who probably has, can be a starting running back in certain situations. Phillip Lindsay really can. So I think he could get a decent amount of run, and he's a guy that runs super hard. If you remember him in Denver, he runs hard. He's tough to tackle, and that's the kind of guy you want in the second half of a preseason when you're catching 3 points. Finally, shout out to betting pros for the preseason betting trends. Hard Knocks teams now 21-32 against the spread. So plenty of reasons to fade the Lions there. So I'm going Colts +3 over on DraftKings. Next up, give me the Steelers on the money line, +130 at the Jaguars. Steelers and Mike Tomlin, they are on a 13-4 preseason run. So I love the fact that you're catching +130 with them. And you look at their, again, backup quarterback situation. Mitch Trubisky, by all accounts, should be starting this game. So you'll at least get some of Mitch Trubisky. It seems like he pretty much has the starting job locked up. But then behind him, Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett, this is like a preseason all-star team. These are all guys who probably aren't that good in the regular season, or certainly, a little young, a little washed up, little just never was that talented. But you put them all three together, and you got a very deep QB rotation for a preseason game. I think they're going to be able to put up points against this Jaguars defense. And the Jaguars just 0-2. Doug P. and the Jags 0-2 in the preseason so far. So don't expect much from them. And okay, Trevor Lawrence is going to play into the second quarter. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence believer. I do like Doug Peterson as a head coach, and certainly he should be a step up from Urban Meyer. But I just think I didn't see enough flashes from Trevor Lawrence that rookie year to really be sold on him. And I'm still skeptical from the preseason tape I've watched. A, skeptical he's going to make a massive leap year 2. And then B, skeptical he's going to do enough to carry this team to a cover. And so I love the Steelers as a moneyline dog here, +130. Get that over on DraftKings. Third and final preseason bet. This spread has gotten out of hand, and You know what? I could take the points, but I'm feeling a little dangerous, like Baker Mayfield. I woke up feeling dangerous. Give me the Commanders, plus 175 at the Chiefs. Get that over on DraftKings. First off, the Commanders' backup, Sam Howell, he looked really good in his debut. You could make a case he looked as good as any of the other rookie quarterbacks out there. As far as the stuff I watched, I think him and Malik Willis flashed. Malik Willis flashed in a way that's more conducive to preseason probably, but Sam Howell also had 2 rushing touchdowns. And I think the Commanders, they're going to let him try and compete for this job with Carson Wentz. I mean, I know they traded a couple of third-round picks for him, but Carson Wentz is on an incredibly short leash. And if I'm Ron Rivera and I see any sort of flash out of Sam Howell, I think you're pulling Wentz as soon as he struggles, because, you know, bringing in Sam Howell and showing some promise for the Commanders, that extends your job. So I think they're going to let Sam Howell play a bunch, and I think he looked pretty good, and I like him going up against this, you know, the Chiefs' second and third strings defense. You know, I know Mahomes is expected to play in the first half, maybe the entire first half. But I don't know. I'm still skeptical. Like, Andy Reid is never a guy that's going to go out and try and do everything he can to win a preseason game. I think if Patrick Mahomes goes out and looks pretty solid, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets pulled early second quarter. Like, you got Patrick Mahomes. Like, the only way this season goes sideways for the Chiefs is, and I'm in on the Chiefs season long, is if Patrick Mahomes gets hurt. I can't imagine he's going to let him out there. If he sees a couple good drives, maybe halfway through the second, and there's certainly a chance. Maybe it's already in the books that he's going to play the entire first half. And shout out to fantasypros.com. Very useful to like look up different players. They aggregate all like those news and updates. It's very easy to kind of like sort through. What the beat reporters are saying is that they expect him to play the most of the first half. I couldn't get an exact lock on it, but even with Mahomes playing a couple drives last week against the against the Bears, they still managed to lose 14-19. So I just like the Commanders. I mean, you're giving me plus 175, plus 200 on a preseason game. I think a lot of these end up being way closer to a crapshoot. You know, a lot of these are just a toss-up. So Commanders plus 175. I think Sam Howell's going to be motivated, and I think he's going to get the ultimately the outright win in mop-up duty in the second half. All right, now to the UFC. Tybura versus Romanov. I'm going Romanov by submission. Romanov, I think he's like around minus 340 to win the fight outright. But over on DraftKings, Romanov to win by submission plus 350. He's won his last 5 fights. Last 5 fights, he's 5-0, and he's won 3 of those by submission. I like those odds. For me, the best part is they're all different submissions. He's won by key lock, armbar, and a choke in his last 5 matches there. So 3 out of 5, he's got the submission, and they're all different submissions. So for me, I think that's going to be really hard to defend. I really like the variety of his submission moves. So Romanov to win by submission plus 350. And again, shout out to Gumby from the MMA Gambling Podcast for putting me on that angle. Ran the numbers, and yeah, I'm on board. Romanov to win by submission plus 350. Get that over on DraftKings. Commanders plus 175 on the money line. Get that on DraftKings. Steelers money line plus 130, also on DraftKings. And last but not least, give me the Colts plus 3 minus 115. Get that also on DraftKings. All right, guys, thank you as always for tuning in. Hit up BetMGM, use that promo code JUICE150. Get that $1,000 risk-free bet. What are you waiting for? Follow us on TikTok at Betting Pros. Follow me on Twitter at Sean T. Green. Check out my other show, Sports Gambling Podcast. 32 different episodes previewing all NFL teams, win totals for each NFL team. You know what to do. Subscribe, rate, and review. And, of course, don't forget to let it ride.